Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, colleagues. My name is Georgina Odoom. Today I'm here to talk about global supply chain of cocoa. Before I start, let's watch this video.
Do you know how the chocolate we eat goes from cacao fruit to that rich, smooth, delicious treat? First workers pick ripe cacao pods from cacao trees, crack them open and scoop out the cacao beans. Wrapped in fruit pulp, the beans and pulp get placed in wooden boxes, piled up and left to ferment for 5-7 days. After fermentation, the beans get washed clean and laid out to dry in the sun. Once dry, they go into a roasting machine at 250-300. You're up for 30 minutes. This brings out the chocolate flavor and makes the shells brittle and easy to remove. After cooling, the machine strips off the outer shells and germs, leaving just the cacao nibs. The nibs get ground into a thick pasty cacao mass called chocolate liquor. Then following the recipe, they add sugar, milk powder, and cocoa butter and send it all through a refining machine that grinds it for hours. Now comes the most critical step, tempering the heat, the chocolate mixture to a laughing thing. Heat it up, cool it down to 82 of, then heat it back up to 90 to grow. Properly tempered chocolate won't easily melt to lose its shape. The chocolate gets poured into molds, cooled and packaged, and just like that, you've got a delicious bar of chocolate.
Country secretly holds the key to most of the world's dark chocolate? The answer might surprise you, and it's hidden in plain sight. When you think of chocolate, you might picture Switzerland, Belgium, or France. But here's the twist. The heart of the world's chocolate supply doesn't come from Europe at all. It comes from West Africa. And at the very top of this global supply is a nation you rarely hear about in this context: Côte d'Ivoire, also known as Ivory Coast. This single country produces nearly 40% of all the cocoa beans on Earth. That means almost half of the dark chocolate you enjoy, from luxury brands to everyday candy bars, starts its journey here. The story is as rich as the cocoa itself. The soils are perfect, the climate is steady, and generations have passed down the skill of cultivating cocoa. But there's another side. Most of the cocoa from Ivory Coast doesn't stay there. It's shipped thousands of miles away to factories in Europe and America. By the time it comes back as a wrapped chocolate bar, the original farmers often never taste the final product. Right next door is Ghana, the second largest producer in the world, responsible for about 17 to 25% of the global supply. Together, these two countries are the unseen backbone of the global chocolate industry. Yet when you walk into a store, you rarely see their names on the packaging. Instead, you see the countries where the chocolate was processed, not where it was born. This raises an interesting thought. How many other things in our daily lives have origins far away from where we think they do? How many stories of creation are hidden behind polished labels? And here's the most fascinating part. Some African chocolatiers are now flipping the script. In Ghana, companies like 57 Chocolate are producing bean-to-bar dark chocolate entirely within the country, keeping the flavor and the value closer to home. In Togo, Choco Togo is doing the same. Slowly, these brands are breaking into the market, challenging a system that's been the same for decades. The cocoa bean may be small, but it carries with it history, culture, and questions about fairness in global trade. Next time you bite into a piece of dark chocolate, remember, it's more than a taste. It's a journey across continents, and it begins in the rich red soil of West Africa.
This is the table of contents. Introduction to cocoa. Production and growing regions, supply chain stages, processing and manufacturing, global trade and key players, sustainability and challenges, and future outlook. So, what is cocoa? Facts about cocoa. Cocoa is derived from Theobroma cacao, a tropical native tree of Central and South America. Cocoa is the main primary ingredients of chocolate production. A global worth of $130 billion. The tree produces large pots of 20 to 50 cocoa beans, which is used in the processing of the chocolates. Today, 90% of cocoa is grown by smallholder farmers on plots under 5 hectares. Global economic significance. The cocoa supply chain is one of the most globally interconnected agricultural systems, spanning over 50 countries, from growing regions in West Africa, Latin America, and Asia Pacific to manufacturers and consumers worldwide. Key growing cocoa regions. Côte d'Ivoire produces 40% globally. Ghana produces 20% globally. Brazil and Ecuador. Côte d'Ivoire produces 2,001 metric tons of cocoa. Ghana, 1,000 metric tons. Indonesia, 680 metric tons. Ecuador, 360 metric tons. Cameroon, 310 metric tons. Nigeria, 280 metric tons. This is an overview of cocoa supply chain, from farming, harvest, post-harvest, trading, processing, manufacture, retail. Each step involves multiple stakeholders, that is smallholder farmers, cooperatives, traders, processors, manufacturers, and retailers. Each step involves multiple stakeholders, smallholder farmers, cooperatives, traders, processors, manufacturers, and retailers, interconnecting multiple continents. Stage 1, nursery and seedling planting. Stage 2, growing and nursing the crops. Stage 3, harvesting cocoa pods. Stage 4, fermentation. Stage 5, drying of cocoa beans. Stage 6, trading and exports. Stage 7, cocoa beans processing. Stage 8, chocolate manufacturing. Key global players in cocoa industry, notably among them are Cargill. They are the processors. They handle about 20% of global cocoa trade. Nestle comes second. They are the largest manufacturers of cocoa products. Odoom International is one of the largest cocoa originators in West and Central Africa.
Action.
Cocoa Board Ghana. It is a regulatory body that controls the Ghanaian cocoa industry from farm to port. Sustainability challenges. We have child labor, low farmer income, disease and pests, deforestation, climate change, price volatility.
Over 1.5 million kids in child labor so you can eat cheap chocolate. You see, Big Chocolate pays their farmers so little that they make less than $1 a day on average. And as a result, 45% of children in cocoa communities work in illegal child labor. And I want to tell you 3 things that Feastables is doing to get these kids out of child labor. First, we pay 100% of our cacao farmers a living income reference price, which is a benchmark set by Fair Trade to ensure farmers earn enough where they can afford housing, food, and other basic necessities. Second, 100% of our cacao is Fair Trade certified, which is the gold standard for ethical certification. They have rigorous standards that protects the livelihoods of small farmers and farm workers. And third, the farms Feastables work with are actively implementing child labor monitoring and remediation systems so the kids can get off the farms and into schools. So the next time you're in an American chocolate aisle, you have a decision to make. Support the status quo, or you can eat Feastables and say enough is enough. You care how your chocolate is sourced.
Case study, Ghana's cocoa industry. Ghana, a model for cocoa world. Ghana is the world's second largest cocoa producers, contributing 20% of global cocoa supply. Cocoa Board Ghana manages the entire supply chain from gate to export, from farm gate to export ports. The government sets a producer price each season, protecting smallholder farmers from market volatility. Ghana produces some of the world's finest flavor cocoa, commanding significant premium prices. Ghana's Living Standard Survey show cocoa as income source for over 800,000 farm families. The cocoa sector contributes approximately 8% of Ghana's GDP. The number 2 export. The Cocoa Ababapa Association provides farm input on credit to over 200,000 farmers annually. Ghana's domestic processing policy requires 50% of cocoa to be processed locally before exports. Policy recommendations for governments: invest in rural infrastructure, schools, and healthcare in all cocoa growing communities. For industry and corporations, pay living income differential premiums directly to smallholder farmers at farm gates. For international community, reform commodity trading rules to reduce harmful speculative cocoa price volatility. In conclusion, a sweet industry with bitter realities and real hope for change. The global cocoa supply chain is complex, multi-billion-dollar system connecting millions of smallholder farmers in the tropics to chocolate consumers worldwide. While it drives enormous economic value, deep inequalities, sustainability deficits, and ethical challenges demand urgent, coordinated action from all stakeholders. Thank you.